What's going on, everyone? You're watching Wrestling Warm-Up here on WrestlingRumors.net. And man, yeah, I know I don't have the beard, I don't have the swagger, I don't have the southern accent, but it's damn good to be here. How's it going, everyone? John Alba here from WrestlingRumors.net. And yeah, it's going to be a little different today. The head honcho's not here, but we still got the best crew in all of the business, including apparently everyone's favorite panelist, Chris Walder.
It's Ms. Walder now.
Oh.
My future is so bright, John.
Who's your stunt double?
Exactly. Exactly. I'm filling in for Alba.
Your stunt double's like Jose Calderon or something. Anyway. And we got Alex Bisong. You just heard him before. Now, Alex, go ahead and tell everyone what you spent your last half hour doing.
My last half hour?
What you told us before that you were searching?
I was searching Ryback on the Twitter machine because bold prediction, whatever the signal is, he's returning tonight, and that's a fact.
And he's beating Rusev, right?
I don't know. I don't know where he's going to go, but wherever he goes, I think he's going to get a big pop for the big guy.
We'll talk about our bold predictions for Raw in just a little bit, but tonight we're going to focus on previewing Raw and reviewing Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell obviously took place last night from Dallas, Texas, and I want your initial thoughts overall, guys, on the show. I said, at worst, I'd grade this show a B+. I really enjoyed the show. I thought the wrestling was top-notch. I thought everyone brought it. There wasn't a bad match on the card, per se, and there was some good payoff going on. Bisong, what do you think, man?
I think you can definitely give it an A minus, with like B plus being the worst, like you said, because they really accomplished what they needed to. They hit a reset button here because there's maybe one or two feuds that happened at Hell in a Cell that you could actually see like continue on the Survivor Series. I thought the wrestling was great. They accomplished what they needed to be done. So overall, it was a very good show.
Now, Walder, you are actually a little more pessimistic about this, and why don't you tell everyone why you're pessimistic about it?
Well, I keep seeing the reactions from everyone saying that Hell in a Cell was a hell of a pay-per-view, and, you know, to an extent it was. I enjoyed it. I don't think there was really kind of like a lull period during the pay-per-view, but at the same time, I think people are giving it a lot of credit, and I wouldn't give it that much, saying it's like an A or an A-. I'm like in the B-, B range, because while it was good, I had fun. You could, you know, pinpoint a lot of things that didn't go right. I you know, just to be like to nitpick, which I always do. You know, like Brie Bella and Nikki Bella. That match actually ended up better than AJ and Paige, the two better workers in the division. Or maybe you can say, well, they didn't give enough time to Cesaro and Dolph Ziggler. 2 out of 3 falls, they basically buried Cesaro by having him lose 2 straight falls, which hasn't happened in a long time.
Well,
I'd have to go look in the history books.
Let's talk about that opening matchup. This really was a stupendous opening match. Some of the spots they did was just unworldly. The suplex from the top rope, but it wasn't your standard superplex. It was, I mean, Ziggler had to have been up 12, 13 feet in the air, if not more than that. It was an awesome sight. I mean, there's 2 ways I look at this. One, Cesaro pissed off somebody backstage at some point where they like toying with him, or I don't know what it is. But the other way, and I can look at this from a positive standpoint, is that for the first time in a really long time, and Jim Ross brought this up today, the Intercontinental Champion was booked strongly. And that's a good way to look at things. And it's funny because people complain about Cesaro not getting his due diligence, but at the same time, people want to see Ziggler get his due diligence. So it's like a pick your poison kind of thing. What do you guys think?
I loved it for Ziggler, but I hated it for Cesaro. Losing 2 straight falls and
so you think if Cesaro picks up 1 fall, this is okay?
I think it gives him a little bit of hope. You lose 2 straight falls to Dolph Ziggler, who himself has had many problems as far as winning matches as of late. I mean, he's been the Intercontinental Champion, but it seems like he's losing every other week on Monday Night Raw. So seeing him win 2 straight against a very credible at least an in-ring performer in Cesaro means maybe they're going to put some stock into Ziggler. But for Cesaro, I didn't like it. I also didn't like Alex Riley later in the show saying that this is like a match of the year candidate. I don't think it was close. I think the fact that it was fairly short, and that it went 2 straight falls kind of hurts it. They've had better matches on Raw.
Yeah, I don't think it was match of the year by any means. We've seen a lot of great matches this year, but it was still awesome, and these two guys can work a hell of a program B-song.
Yeah, I think it could actually be beneficial for both of them. We did talk about Ziggler winning 2 falls. It makes him look strong. The only problem there is you want to book him strong on television as well. Sometimes these title holders lose a lot of their matches on TV. But for Cesaro, yes, he does lose 2 falls. He can't even win 1. But at the same time, it might mean this feud's already over before it began. And with the IC title not that prestigious at the moment and just a mid-card feud, maybe, just maybe, even though there's a very small chance, it might mean they have something bigger in store for him.
So what do you think? What do you think that? Let's go both ways with this here. What do you think is in store for the Intercontinental Championship if you think that this might be over? And what do you think's in store for Cesaro?
For Ziggler, I mean, I don't know what you can really do because there aren't that many challengers to be had.
No,
you're not going to return somebody like Ryback to come back to face an IC title guy. Guys like Bo Dallas are really used for comedic purposes, so I don't know where they could go, but with the way that's booked, I don't see how they can have a rematch between these two. I think Cesaro could maybe...
Now, Cesaro didn't look weak yesterday. He didn't look weak.
He lost 2 straight falls.
He lost 2 straight falls, Walter, but, I mean, he gave it all to Ziggler. He did, and he was impressive visually and conceptually. He didn't get the job done.
And instead of having Cesaro and Ziggler face one-on-one again for the title, maybe there's some main event thing where it's the Authority versus maybe Team Cena or somebody where you have a traditional Survivor Series match and you can put them on the face and heel teams.
Well, if you want what I think is going to happen with this, I think we're going to get more of Cesaro and Ziggler, but I think I think this is going to turn into the Survivor Series mid-card match now. I think. I hoped at least we were going to be heading towards a little bigger angle for the Survivor Series traditional match, but that doesn't appear to be the case after how last night ended. So I do think that it's going to ultimately end up being Ziggler and Cesaro. Now, if it's not, you could maybe go in the direction of Randy Orton and Seth Rollins if they choose to go down that route, but we'll see where that's to be seen. We want to hear what you guys have to say. If you go to WrestlingRumors.net, if you're not there already, there's a live chat set up. All you got to do is ask some questions. We'll answer them. We love doing that. Tweet at us at WrestleRumors, WrestleRumors. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you tweet at me? Tweet it at us. Let's see what you got to say. Let's keep going last night, guys. Let's stay with the mid-card here. Last night we saw Sheamus defeat The Miz, but the real eye-catcher was Damien Sandow, or Damien Mizdow, whatever you want to call him. They alluded to some sort of breakup coming up in the near future between him and The Miz. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, clearly, Mizdow was the best part of that match, and in terms of actual wrestling, Miz versus Sheamus was, bottom of the barrel, maybe even the worst of the night, which says something because Nikki and Brie had a match. But I said this on the pre-show for the pay-per-view. I don't think Mizdow and Miz should split anytime soon because I think this gimmick is just working too damn good for them to have them go their separate ways at this point. I know, during the pre-show they had that Mizdow TV, and they kind of, teased a little bit of tension, saying how it was Mizdow who beat Sheamus on Raw and not Miz. I think Sheamus is going to go on to a different program now anyway. I'm curious to see what they'll do with Miz and Mizdow. I always thought making them challengers to the tag titles would be nice, but again, there's a heel tag team holding it right now, so I don't know how that would work. But after the match, when they did the YMCA stuff and Sheamus was using Miz as a puppet to see what Mizdow would do, I thought that was it was hilarious. I absolutely
it was funny. It was very funny, and I'm okay with them using that. I mean, here's the thing. It's going to be tough for Sandow to break out of that comedy character for the rest of his career now.
Mm-hmm.
It's really going to be tough, and that's a shame. But you know what? People have a soft spot for it. Doug always talks about it. Santino Marella, no matter how stupid things got with him, he was still one of the most over guys in the company, just based off who his character was. If that's the route that it's going to work for Sandow, then that's the route it's going to work. B-Song, what do you think of the match, and where do you think Sheamus goes next? I mean, I think a lot of people kind of have the Rusev thought in mind. Do you agree with that?
I mean, I definitely agree with that, but it may be a little bit too soon for that, in my opinion. There's really, like we've mentioned before, there's not many guys that challenge for these mid-card titles unless you bring back Luke Harper and Eric Rowan now that Bray Wyatt has come back. But I would think the best bet here is Sheamus going the feud with Rusev for a little while. And as for the match, like Walter said, it wasn't anything stellar. It may have even ranked below the Bella Twins match, but once again, Mizdow stole the show.
Sometimes you just need that lightning in the bottle, and that's exactly what they got with Mizdow. You know, regarding Sheamus, if he loses the title to Rusev, you got to think, and I mean, we've said this before and we've been wrong, you got to think that starts some kind of traction towards a heel turn. Because if he loses to that, he gets frustrated. That's when that fire's got to come out. Because the guy is just... he's just not interesting in this role. And you know what? I like, ever since Sheamus came back from his injury that he sustained, I think his matches have been very good in terms of his ring work. But there's just no interest.
No, I agree with you. And when you also take in consideration, you know, with Randy Orton, he's getting his presumed face run, that kind of also means that, you know, with the top heel turning face, maybe it's time you kind of get a top face to turn heel just to kind of even out the universe. And Sheamus, Lord knows he needs this. Like, if anyone is on the roster is in desperate need of some sort of a makeover character-wise, it's him. Because if our assumptions are true and he drops the title to Rusev at Survivor Series or maybe even earlier than that, there is literally nothing else for him to do at that point.
No, I mean, he can challenge Rusev again and lose again. But that's it. I don't know. Well, let's talk about Rusev now. Last night, Rusev defeated the Big Show. The Big Show didn't tap out. He just kind of passed out. Mark Henry, though, did tap out when he faced Rusev. And Mark Henry's kind of been the underlying motif here with this feud and this program. And now tonight, Mark Henry and Big Show have a tag team championship match with the Rhodes brothers somehow, but they do. and this is what kind of worries me about what happened with the Rusev program, because to me the bigger picture wasn't necessarily on getting Rusev over. It was building towards a program with Mark Henry and Big Show. And I'm not sure why that is.
Alex?
I mean, I got nothing either. The only thing that I could have thought, that seeing that Henry didn't turn on Big Show or Big Show didn't turn on Henry, that maybe they're building for some handicap match between the three, but even then, I don't like the idea of that. So I don't know why they would want to put so much onus on Big Show and Mark Henry unless they have something worthwhile in store.
Look, at Hell in a Cell, that was either a troll job by WWE because everyone and their mother thought that Mark Henry was going to turn heel last night. He comes out to the ring, doesn't really do anything besides slap Big Show's ass and give him, you know, a little bit of encouragement in this match. Or they really are, you know, WWE really wants them to be the next challengers for the tag team titles, because with Gold and Stardust as the heel team and the Usos as the only other credible challengers for the Gold, they need another face team to step up.
That is okay. I got no problem with that, but they shouldn't have done that at the expenditure of Rusev. The expense of Rusev, rather.
Why? In what sense?
That the Rusev program was not built around Rusev's dominance. It was built around what was going on between Mark Henry and Big Show.
Well, he made Big Show tap out. That's the last thing we're going to remember.
He made Big Show tap out, absolutely, and I understand that. But and you see, that's not the last thing that I remember. The last thing I remember about that is him getting double teamed by Mark Henry and Big Show.
From Raw or
no, not from Raw. I mean, last night he was clearly targeted.
Yeah, but then Rusev still won. So
I understand
what's the big deal?
But my point is that it's this forcing of this entity of Big Show and Mark Henry, and maybe it is because they're moving them towards a tag team championship picture, and you know what? That's okay. But there's no way that the Rhodes brothers should beat them because, in logic at least, how the heck are they supposed to beat those two gigantic monsters?
Well, they shouldn't be even having a title shot to begin with. They
Big
Show lost on the pay-per-view. Yeah,
they shouldn't be right now. I ultimately think this is working towards a program still, and I think you guys also think that as well.
It's the mid-card version of Orton and Cena. Big Show versus Mark Henry, part 104. It's bound to happen.
You see, and I wouldn't mind it being flipped around. We've seen it all these times with Big Show as the face and Henry as the heel. I mean, if they flipped it around, it's a little different, you know? That adds a little more intrigue. But, I mean, all for all intents and purposes, it sure looks like it's going to be the same thing we've seen before. Now, I mentioned last week I could see a scenario where Big Show would be the one just getting fed up with Henry being around all the time and just knocking him out. But I don't know. I don't necessarily see it that way. Do you guys have any final thoughts on this?
I mean, I think we could possibly see Big Show turn heel on Henry just for what you said, but like you said, I don't think that's the way they're going to go, though.
No, I don't think it's going to be the way they're going to go.
I agree, man. Like, it's so easy to turn Mark Henry heel just because he's so much better at being a bad guy. And with Big Show, he's the big lovable giant. Kids adore him. So, I'm sick of seeing it, but it's going to happen, regardless of whether we want it to or not.
And maybe at Survivor Series, too, where they had that match just 3 years ago at Survivor Series.
Yippee-ki, freaking yay.
I want to get to some of the stuff in the chat, some comments, some questions that we have. Ed saying, the booking of Rusev's match was bizarre last night. The heel rises up over two huge faces and makes the world's largest athlete pass out. And one of the guests says Rusev has been justified in this Big Show feud, which is interesting. We also have some other comments. WWE is hurting. The show last night was at average best. So it's interesting. We seem to be all over the spectrum here in our thoughts, and that's good because that means that for the first time in a while they have us talking about stuff, which is not a bad thing. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of excited to see what's going to unfold on Raw tonight. Whereas we kind of went through the motions the last few weeks, I'm kind of excited about what's going to happen. So that's a good thing. Let's continue with our Hell in a Cell recap. Let's talk about the Bellas now. So the Bellas had their match. Not a bad match. Nikki Bella's finisher looks good. The rack that she does, it's of substance. Now here's the thing: we're gonna see another month of really bad acting with the Bellas. And now at least it's not going to be them yelling at each other every single night now. But what do you make of this, guys? Where does this lead to? I think we all agree where it's leading to. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, we're going to Team Nikki versus Team Brie at Survivor Series. It's just going to be like a total divas cluster, you know what? And now that you have AJ and Paige on the show, you're probably going to include them as well. Kudos to both girls though, because their match last night wasn't a train wreck like a lot of people thought it would be. They're getting better, and I think you have to kind of give leeway to people like that who are just so down the spectrum of wrestling that they can only go up.
I think that the Bella Twins, since they returned to WWE, have really been quite impressive in the ring for where they were at one point, and I still think they're some of the better female wrestlers on the main roster right now. I mean, when you look at someone like Cameron and Eva Marie, and well, you can go from there. B-Song, what do you think?
I just hope they book this correctly, because we already saw it at the pay-per-view itself. They had a backstage segment. They really should just limit this of them having these backstage segments where Bree's walking around having to be her assistant. And then if you do want to, well, they're going to do the Team Bree versus Team Nikki, just to insert Stephanie McMahon for one in-ring segment, have them say, all right, Bree, you're either going to quit after these 30 days are up unless you form a team and defeat your sister at Survivor Series.
And we agree that this needs to be over after Survivor Series, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you got to make one of them challenge AJ at that point. Whoever wins that Survivor Series match will probably be next in line for a Divas title shot.
Or if they want to make amends among the Bellas, maybe they do this Team Nikki versus Team Bree. Team Nikki loses, Stephanie scolds Nikki, and then Nikki turns face again. That's how you do it. It's that simple. You can literally forget about everything you did over the last few months and just erase it, just like that.
Yeah, but Stephanie hasn't been involved.
No, I know
for a
she
while.
hasn't, but that doesn't mean that, like B-Song said, as we get closer to Survivor Series, that doesn't mean she can't be.
And it wouldn't make any sense for Brie to quit in 30 days. Like, I know it's going to be a pain in the ass to have to grab Nikki coffee, but it's 30 days. It's 4 weeks of this crap. Who cares? Or at least I'm talking as if I were in her shoes and this was actually real. So there you go.
You mean wrestling's fake?
Just like Santa.
Whoa,
Sorry for the youngins out there. Yeah, I said it.
Come on, we have
Santa.
kids watching this.
We are
sorry, B-Song.
Get on it. God.
I forgot B-Song has the red hat and the beard, the everything, man. He worships the big guy.
Oh, man.
Big guy.
Oh, the big guy, yeah. I saw it.
Oh, my Lord. You're watching Wrestling Rumors presents Wrestling Warm-Up here on WrestlingRumors.net. Don't forget, you can follow these goons on Twitter at GlassModeALB and at Walder Sports, myself at John Alba SFC, and you can tweet at us at WrestleRumors. We like interacting with all you guys. Some more thoughts from Twitter, one from Ed again. The first thought that comes to mind for him is that Luke Harper goes for the Intercontinental Championship with Ziggler.
Yeah, what's up with those guys? We didn't see them at Hell in a Cell last night.
Well, it sounds like that, if anything, is confirmation that they are moving them away from each other.
Yeah, which I'm still very surprised with. And we're going to obviously talk about Bray Wyatt or whatever. This is the first time that Wyatt's been on his own. And there's still a possibility that maybe tonight on Raw he brings some more people to be his new followers. But I actually like Ed's idea. If you're going to have Harper and Rowan, do their own thing, you don't have to make them a tag team. Make them singles competitors. And I think Luke Harper versus Dolph Ziggler could deliver on many levels.
I would agree. I think it would be a tremendous match. I think it'd be a good program. I don't know what's going to go on with that Intercontinental Championship picture because there is no reason to keep going with Cesaro after Ziggler beat him decisively, but I just don't see what else happens for Cesaro because the thing is, WWE's not stupid. They know they have to keep Cesaro on television. If they didn't think that, he wouldn't be on the shows right now. It's just someone at the top is hesitant, and it's not Triple H. We know it's not Triple H. Someone at the top is hesitant to give him that extra little bit of lickage there.
But they're going to have to turn him around real fast because he's nearing that point where he's losing so much that it's going to be really hard to bring him back up.
Yep.
Can't disagree with you on that.
Like you're not going to be. Remember, like a couple of months ago, we were talking about the possibility of Cesaro versus Brock Lesnar. Yeah. How stupid were we at that point? Looking at what we've seen now.
Now, what if they did something like they have with Bray Wyatt and just like kind of keep him off TV for just one pay-per-view and try and build him back up
and rejuvenate him?
Yeah, I mean it's an attempt.
The problem with Cesaro is the dude doesn't have a character. What is Cesaro's character?
He's Taz and Ric Flair.
Right, he doesn't have a character, so that's the issue. In wrestling, you need a character, even if it's a guy like Ziggler. Ziggler has his show-off character. It's not a big character, but it gives him an identity.
It's funny. Cesaro should have never left the Real Americans. Like that thing was building steam, and they cut that way too soon.
And he and Swagger both know it.
Oh yeah. They should. I'm amazed that they never had a tag title run. Amazed. They're definitely one of the greatest teams ever to have never been tag team champions.
Here's why they broke up. They broke up because WWE had huge plans for him, and there was no doubt about it. And when you have huge plans for a guy, you run with it. But the problem is they didn't run with it. They're like, all right, we're about to.
Yeah. Well, the Paul Heyman thing flopped. A lot of people thought that was going to be his saving grace. You align with Paul Heyman, you're going to be a main event guy. And then you look at his track record. You went from Curtis Axel, Ryback, and now Cesaro. All three guys couldn't get anything from that relationship. And now Cesaro is just kind of floating in the wind with nothing really to do besides be a challenger in title matches that he'll never win.
I'm done picking him.
Yeah, sir. What were you all thinking? There was 4 of you who picked him. I couldn't believe it.
My picks last night, I got screwed over by the ordering of the card. because I went with the notion that Orton Cena was going to be the main event, which changed completely how I picked the entire card. But
you picked a no contest in a Hell in a Cell match.
Well, because I envisioned, if with that being the main event, I envisioned the Wyatts getting involved in that. That's why.
Even so, you can't do a no contest when there's no disqualification and it's a friggin' cell.
When both guys can't compete, that's a no contest, man. Anyway, all
right,
so
fair enough.
That's what it came down to. B-Song's flashing something right now.
7 of 8.
Not bad, man. Not bad. I totally went with that notion and was wrong. Did I do real bad other than that? I got Cesaro wrong, I got the main event wrong, I got Ambrose wrong.
So there was only 7 matches, so you got 4 out of 7 at least.
Yeah, 6 out of 7.
You got 7 out of 8, or 8, I guess there was 8 matches. You got 7 right, Alex?
I got all but 1 right.
So you got the Ambrose one wrong. Yeah, you got Ambrose.
All of us got wrong, so that means...
I would have picked Wyatt coming back instantly if I had known that would be the main event, and I would have picked Rollins winning that match, but not knowing that would be made, because they weren't going to bring Wyatt back in the middle of the show.
Well, if we had
Let's talk about that, guys. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, and we can get back to the other matches later. Let's talk about this. Last night, can we all agree it was a great main event between Rollins and Ambrose? The match is awesome. They have a sick table spot. They do some cool stuff with the Stooges on top of the cell. Bray Wyatt comes back through the ring after the lights go out. There's a hologram, takes out Ambrose, allows Rollins to get the pin. Now, a lot of people are complaining, saying, oh, it was so corny, but guys, come on. If that was The Undertaker's gong and The Undertaker rising up from the ring, no one complains.
Nope.
What did you guys think of the ending?
I mean, the hologram thing, that's tremendous. I don't know how people can really, get on this. If it's anybody else, like you said, if it's The Undertaker, you have this foreign language, the lights are out, this hologram, and in the middle of the ring, I don't understand how people can't grasp how just neat that comes off on television in a live atmosphere. That's probably amazing.
Yeah, I thought the Tupac hologram was real cool, man. Coming up from the center of the ring, it looked like a woman. Maybe it was like a Sister Abigail kind of crazy thing. It was well done. I mean, as far as the match was, I thought it was the best Hell in a Cell match we've seen at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I don't know how long it's gone, like maybe 5 or 6 years. I think it was definitely the best, even one of the tops in the PG era. As far as the Bray Wyatt stuff is concerned, it left me wanting more, which is good, just because we've overanalyzed these video promos that he's been doing on Raw, and we got the hint that Harper and Rowan are probably going to split from the Wyatt family, and of course we don't see them at the pay-per-view. But with the "it's coming" or whatever, and the smoke going under his chair or whatever, was this all really just a precursor so he could feud with Ambrose? Like, I really want to know why Ambrose is his target of all people. Maybe he has some sort of relationship with the Authority. Maybe he's just doing it because he's absolutely crazy and he's just one gigantic lunatic. Who knows? But with Ambrose being the target, that's what I took away. That's why Raw is must-see TV tonight.
I'll tell you what. If you wanted to put heat on Wyatt, you finally did. You finally did. You put him against the hottest babyface, and that's how you get it done. That's okay.
And you also pissed off fans because they wanted
Ambrose to get the payoff.
Yeah.
Right, and that's perfect. That's great. I'm just so mad because I would have gone 6 or 7 if I had just known the order of the matches. Ugh. Anywho, I am still picking under protest, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, the wrestling gods are still awaiting the arbitration hearing on the protested picks. But
hey, it's almost January. I'm going to be instigating a new system so that certain rule violations won't be happening, and then Alba might win. But Manzo's in first right now, right?
Yeah,
he's killing us.
I know, but I wouldn't mind being the Intercontinental Champion. It's not a big deal. So let's keep talking about this. So, guys, I thought Wyatt was sadistic. That spider walk he did had a little extra something. This program could be red hot. And they have a chance to do something very special here. I think at least. And I mean, it puts him in a little bit of a tough booking hole here because it's hard to just put Wyatt down after building this huge comeback, but it's also hard to put Ambrose down. Once again, you got to figure he'd lose some steam at some point.
Yeah, Alex?
That might be a match like the first match at least, that you might not have to end clean, because both of them really can't afford a loss, in my opinion, especially Ambrose, just for the way that he's been booked over the past couple of pay-per-views, but at the same time, you need to have Wyatt continue the substantial amount of momentum he should get going up against the #1 babyface in the company.
Wyatt needs this to go over not just well, he needs this to go over extremely well, because he was like this before he went on his little hiatus. He was just treading water. I think his feuds with John Cena and especially Chris Jericho, I think they underwhelmed huge. And now that he's back and he's had some time off to refresh his character and maybe his promos and whatnot, he's going up against the man right now in WWE, and that's Dean Ambrose. With Brock Lesnar out of the picture, John Cena's, always John Cena, but Ambrose is like the #1 face in WWE right now. So Wyatt, he needs to start bringing his A game, because this might make or break any kind of future push he gets. And we, of course, we all have every faith that this is going to be a classic feud, but we've been let down before. But with two guys like Ambrose and Wyatt, as good as they are on the mic, as solid as they are in the ring, this needs to be really special, and I think this could bring a lot of interest back to fans who are kind of going back and forth as to whether they should watch television, like wrestling television again.
The funny thing is, we have these hot feuds going on right now, and no one is thinking about Roman Reigns. No one.
He is forgotten.
And what does that say?
It's not good for him. But again, if I had to place a bet on what the main event of WrestleMania is going to be, it's probably going to be Reigns versus Lesnar for the title.
It probably still will be. I agree with you, but I mean, the way Ambrose is being booked right now, and whether that's a matter of him replacing Reigns' booking, or maybe that's just something they had planned all along, it's something. Because
but you know what? With Dean Ambrose's biggest flaw, probably in the minds of WWE, is that he doesn't look like Roman Reigns. And there's a reason why a guy like CM Punk, who was WWE champion or whatnot, never got in the main event of WrestleMania. Roman Reigns looks like he belongs in the main event of WrestleMania. As good as Ambrose is, I don't think WWE would be very willing to say, you know what, he's our top guy, let's put him against like a Lesnar or a Cena or whatnot.
If he returns at the Rumble, he better get a big pop, because they could very well have a repeat of last year, especially if there are guys like Bryan in there, Ambrose.
Agreed, B-Song.
He will get a big pop. There's no doubt in my mind about that. My doubt is, at that point, will Ambrose be more over than him? Where people pop big for Reigns, and then they're like, wait a second, I don't want to see him beat Dean Ambrose.
Ambrose is already more over than Reigns is, as far as I'm concerned. The reactions he's getting, and he's just a deeper character. Roman Reigns was kind of falling into that John Cena trap where his matches were getting extremely predictable. He was basically a kick on the apron, a Superman punch, and then a spear, and that was it. And his charisma came out when he would flail his arms to the sides, and then he would just yell like a wolf. That was it. He wasn't very deep. Ambrose is deep. The guy can cut a promo. He has ring psychology coming out of the yin yang.
That's what I was just going to say. His ring psychology is on another level.
And here, if they decide to go in a different direction for the main event of WrestleMania, and I still think it's 50-50. Reigns is the favorite, but they could do about a million other things. If they don't do that, at WrestleMania, it has to be Ambrose versus Rollins versus Reigns. I'm amazed they didn't pull the trigger on that sooner. But with Reigns' injury, of course, affecting the way that the booking and whatnot, if Reigns isn't challenging Lesnar, you got to do the triple threat with the Shield guys at WrestleMania.
I genuinely think that was probably the plan for Survivor Series.
Probably, yeah.
And they had to audible on that, but it's also, by the way, it's also not coincidental, I think, that Bray Wyatt got pulled off TV around the same time that Roman Reigns got hurt. I think that rebooking, someone's like, hey, let's take him off and let's put him against Ambrose instead. I think that matched up. But you're talking about WrestleMania matches. Someone throws out in the chat, heel Roman Reigns versus a face Rock at WrestleMania.
A face Brock or Rock?
Face Rock.
That's definitely on the table. I mean, Rock, there's a good chance he does work next year's WrestleMania, and he's got to be on the short list for him for someone to face Rock.
Yeah, I mean, if Roman Reigns could use the Rock, use the rub that he would get from the Rock, I think that would help. Again, if you had to put money down like I would for Reigns Lesnar, I think if Rock comes back, it's probably going to be against Triple H, like they teased on that episode of SmackDown. Just kind of like for nostalgia purposes, because there's always that one match at WrestleMania that makes you look at the past, and maybe that's Sting too. We don't know what his role is going to be on the show. But Triple H versus The Rock makes sense. Well, it would be cool to see Rock Reigns, but I'm not dying to see it.
Sting is the bunny, actually, guys.
Sting is the bunny?
Yeah.
Rosebud and all that?
Yes, Sting. Sting is not a lemon.
I haven't had a good
NWO
rumor in a while.
NWO Sting is a lemon, but regular Sting is most definitely a rosebud.
Hoda and Kathy Lee fell into the arms of Steve Borden on Raw, and we didn't even catch it.
You're watching Wrestling Warm Up here on WrestlingRumors.net. I'm John Alba. I'm joined today by Glass Mode ALB, Alex B. Sung, and at Walder Sports, Christopher Walder. No Doug O'Mac tonight. B. Sung's going to be taking the Twitter duties later on as we get underway with Raw. Not too much else to talk about regarding Hell in a Cell last night. There was the main event 1 between John Cena and Randy Orton. And I don't know about you guys, or at least I don't know about B-Song. I know Walder wasn't crazy about it. I enjoyed it. We saw the return of the AA into the RKO spot, but I really liked the 5-knuckle shuffle into the RKO spot in particular.
Well, it was a shoulder block.
Well, but he was going for the...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the same... Someone figured out that he does the same damn moves every time he gets a
Finally! It's about time!
He catches him in the RKO.
It's about time,
that was
instead
cool.
of ducking, instead of swinging a punch at him.
Stop swinging. I say that every week when Cena tags in. For the love of God, he's doing the same 4 moves. Why do you throw a punch when you get off the mat? Like, Jesus Christ. Oh, that's classic. I love it. I absolutely love it.
The match
What do you think of the match?
The match was pretty good. I mean, the Royal Rumble match they had this year, even though the crowd did not think too kindly of it, it was one of the best matches they ever had. And then here at Hell in a Cell, it was also a very good match. But, I mean, the spots were there, but then again, all it leads to is Cena facing Lesnar, presumably at the Royal Rumble. But it's still just a good way to hopefully have this be their last singles match at a pay-per-view or even on TV.
The wrong guy won last night, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not just saying that because I picked Orton, but at the same time, Cena versus Lesnar, do we really need a third or fourth match?
The way they ended that Night of Champions match, you have to have them face again. It's just the way they booked it.
You do. No, you're absolutely right. And my worry is, when do we see this match? Because they did not say the #1 contender at Survivor Series. They said the #1 contender.
It's Rumble for sure.
If it's not Survivor Series, there's no chance they do it at TLC.
Oh, no, not at all, not a chance. But my question basically is it Survivor Series or is it the Rumble? Because if it's Survivor Series, if it's not Survivor Series, who the hell does Cena face?
You know what scares me? And they might actually do this if they don't do the Sheamus thing. We could get Cena versus Rusev. They might do that for the next 2 months and get them to Royal Rumble. Hey, you know what? They might, after what Rusev has been doing as of late. If who else? I mean, of course, the Sheamus thing. I think Cena versus Rusev could work as kind of like a mini 2-month feud, and Rusev is going to lose sooner or later. So,
You got me yawning, man. It's not happening this early because there's still so much more growth for Rusev right now, and Cena going into a match against Lesnar cannot remotely put over Rusev in that sense. You can't. So that it wouldn't be smart to book it that way. I think the more likely route in that case is they do some kind of triple threat feud between Cena, Orton, and Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I could see that.
Cena still has unfinished business with Rollins, and we're going to see that tonight. And Orton certainly has unfinished business with Rollins.
Or they could just do a Survivor Series Team Cena versus Team Rollins.
Yeah.
So Cena and Rollins are facing each other tonight on Raw. You put Orton on Rollins.
Who do you put on those teams, though?
Oh, you do Rollins, Kane, Orton, and then maybe a tag team like the Dust Brothers, and then you give Cena the Usos, and then 2 other guys. I don't know, but that's
like I said before. You could easily throw like Ziggler and Cesaro on those teams. You had the thing they teased with Cesaro wanting to join the Authority before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still don't. I still think that the Survivor Series elimination match is a mid-card match. Hopefully not as bad as the one that was just thrown together last year, but
hey, it made Roman Reigns look like $1 million.
But well, yeah, he looked like $1 million. And the year before that was atrocious, wasn't it? Like PTP and like
yeah, it was really bad.
Yuck.
I wish they would just go back to the format where just, remember back in like the late 80s, early 90s where they would have like 7 or 8 teams and then like they would have a survival of the fittest at the end of the night. Like fans could get into that premise again. Just teams of 4, name them after the team captain, I like the old school Survivor Series feel. It hasn't felt like Survivor Series in a long, long time.
No, the last great 5-on-5 Survivor Series match was 2011 with Barrett and Orton. That was, other than Sin Cara getting hurt in the middle of the match, that was probably the last real solid one that we've had. And you can't really name too many others that were great in the last 10 years either.
Well, they did the Raw versus SmackDown one. They did the Alliance and.
Well, the Alliances. The Alliance one is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The booking of that match, for as bad as the feud was, and how botched it was.
Long live the Alliance.
For as bad as that was, the payoff really was tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
They actually made something worth it there. Why don't you throw in the chat, guys? We got a lot of people chatting. If you want to tweet at us, at WrestleRumors, what are your favorite Survivor Series matches that we've seen over the past several years? And we'll read some of them off, and let's not yell at each other in the chat. We got the WWE Bunny in there. We got some weird Christmas puns on Walder. I'm not really sure I quite understand that, but
really? What do they say?
Walder kills Christmas or something. It's just weird stuff. I don't know, man.
My name is on the damn holiday. Relax, people. I'm a Christmas lover. I love everything besides the presents because, hey, John, you remember this? I had the blackout last time, so Christmas isn't on my good side right now. Dark TO, hashtag Dark TO. It pissed off Alba to no end.
It didn't piss me off like you. Anywho, you should teach a course on like momentous tweeting where you just can't stop. You're on a roll, and you just gotta go and go and go.
How to complain on Twitter until you get your damn power back.
Yeah, complaining on Twitter 101. It's true. You can do it. Did Rob Ford's brother win mayor today? Right?
The polls are still open until 8 o'clock. So
hashtag Ford tough. Stay strong, buddy. Rob Ford. Cancer will not get you down. All right.
Rob Ford.
Anywho, we got 15 more minutes here on Wrestling War, guys. Let's throw out some bold predictions for Raw tonight. Not a whole lot to talk about with the Divas stuff and the tag team stuff. Give me some bold predictions for the episode tonight.
Like, besides Ryback appearing, I mean, it would not surprise me if, like we kind of discussed before, if Wyatt comes back with some other people, because, I mean, guys like Axel, we don't know if he's going to come back with Rybaxel. We don't know, like, where the hell has Fandango been this, like, for the past 4 months, it seems, he hasn't been anywhere. They just had him, he was feuding with, what, like, Summer Rae and Layla whenever he was going after those two.
He's going to be on Total Divas next season. He was in one of the promo clips.
He's been away growing a beard so he could join the Wyatt family. That's what he's been doing. His facial hair growth isn't, the standard of a normal man. Maybe it
Maybe
takes a
he'll go
little bit
back to
longer.
the Johnny Curtis gimmick where he's pouring milk and crying over
Yeah.
stuff.
How do you go up from Fandango? You go into a gimmick where you're losing your mind, throwing milk and ketchup and mustard on yourself. That'll get you in the main event of WrestleMania. Oh, and as far as my bold prediction too is similar to Alex. I think not only do we see Bray Wyatt tonight, I think he comes with somebody, some sort of group. I don't think it's the Ascension, but I think someone joins him just because there's strength in numbers, and I think Bray Wyatt is the perfect example of a character who needs backup. And Harper and Rowan were perfect fits, but now it looks like they'll be doing their thing. So Wyatt brings somebody with him to Raw tonight. Any other big predictions? Not real. Because the show is clouded in mystery. There's a lot that we don't know of yet.
Yeah, I think we start to see the beginning of the face turn for Randy Orton tonight. If we haven't seen that already, even though last night he was pretty heelish in his match with Cena. I think that's what we're going to get. I look forward to seeing what's going to come of Wyatt and Ambrose. I don't think we're going to get someone else with Wyatt right now. I think they're ready to try him out solo. And that's okay. But I wish... I don't know, part of me still wishes that we had some more longevity with the Wyatt family. But, hey, that is what it is. That at this point it seems to be a ship that has sailed in that regard. I don't know how I feel about the rest of the card. I want to get behind Ryback doing something Big B song. I really do, because if Rusev's not going to feud with Sheamus, having Ryback come out as a face and bringing back Feed Me More, it would work.
It would. I mean, everybody he goes up against gets huge pops, but if they do Rusev versus Sheamus, I don't think you can insert Ryback anywhere where he's not just going to fall off again.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Let's take some questions, guys. If you have any questions, let's throw it out. This will be a general question and answer bar. We got a question. When does Seth Rollins cash in Money in the Bank? Because that's something that really has just gone totally under the radar over the past
ways away.
Past 2 months. And I gotta agree with you. I think he becomes the first person who cashes in closest to Money in the Bank.
You want a bold prediction for Seth Rollins? I actually said before.
You think he's gonna lose it?
Yep.
Do I think Seth Rollins? Oh, does Alex think he's going to lose it?
What do you think? Go ahead, make your bold prediction.
I originally had a bold prediction saying that he would never cash it in and he'd get into Money in the Bank and he'd just have it taken away, because I thought Dean Ambrose might be the guy who just continuously interferes in Rollins' matches so that he never gets a clean shot at the belt. But I'm changing my prediction. I think for the first time ever in WWE history, Seth Rollins will cash in Money in the Bank at the end of WrestleMania, and he will beat Roman Reigns to become WWE Heavyweight Champion.
It would be something. It would be something, and it would make him a mega star.
It's either the night of WrestleMania or the night after he beats Roman Reigns. There's your bold prediction.
I think it would be neat if they do go along the lines of having some triple threat match between those three at like WrestleMania. Put the briefcase on the line. I mean, I thought they personally might have done it at Hell in a Cell or even Night of Champions before with Rollins and Ambrose. I mean, if he's not going to...
TLC is still an option. TLC is still an option.
It is.
Oh, man.
Because that's the thing. Brock Lesnar is only going to be on these major pay-per-views, right? If he's at the Rumble, Rollins is definitely not cashing in that close to WrestleMania. So he's either going to do it at WrestleMania or the night after, because Lesnar, like if Lesnar wins for some reason, he'll be there. Or if Reigns wins at WrestleMania, then perfect. You put the belt on Rollins. So I think WrestleMania 31 needs that like just one insane moment that gets people talking again, and having Rollins close the show by cashing in Money in the Bank. Because we almost thought that Dolph Ziggler was going to do that when he had Money in the Bank, when they had the Alberto Del Rio Jack Swagger match, and then afterwards, Del Rio's hobbling around because of the ankle stuff. We're waiting for the music to come out, and then it cuts to like a commercial. This WrestleMania 31, do that. Rollins, cash in.
I totally agree. There was no reason to wait the next night for Ziggler. There was no reason. Especially when we just got a rematch of the WrestleMania match itself. Yeah. It really made us. I was in the crowd that night, and everyone wanted to see it happen. Everyone. Mm-hmm. It was definitely interesting. And Vince does like to send people home happy, as PJ says. So we'll see that. So let's see. Let's look at some stuff here in the chat. I'm trying to scroll through. We got so many people talking, guys.
It's all anti-Walder comments, isn't it?
I mean, a large degree of them are anti-Walder comments. But,
we actually have a good question. Someone wants to know if when we see Wade Barrett coming back.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to go straight for the Intercontinental Championship, no?
Yep. I mean, it could be around here too. They said he'd be back like November, December.
Yeah, Walder, you don't think so?
No, they might start him off slow. They might even just throw him with Swagger, because it was Swagger who's the one who injured him. I don't know if they made that common knowledge. I think they might have shown a replay once of saying it was like when he got thrown into the railing or something. That's when his injury happened. So maybe they'll throw him with Swagger. But the problem is that fans will cheer him when he comes back because the gimmick is loved. Whether WWE wants to admit it or not, it's bad news Barrett, but he's basically a face at this point. So I don't know if they would want to do Barrett versus Ziggler. I'd love to see it. It's just he's probably going to be booked against a heel or Jack Swagger.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid, God, it's been a while. It's been a while. Definitely.
How long has it been?
He was supposed to be in Money in the Bank, and he got hurt the week before.
So it's been five or 6 months?
No.
When was Money in the Bank?
June.
Oh, it was June. Oh, July, August, September, October. Yeah, I failed math.
Yeah, it was June. And, cause we had...
It was late June, I think, too, because Payback was like June 1st, I think.
It was June 28th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like so it hasn't been that long, but still, it has been sizable in that regard. So let's see. I'm looking for some more questions here. We got from Acer. He says, I'm looking forward to the Bray Wyatt Dean Ambrose program. The question is, will WWE execute it right, or will they disappoint with it? What do you guys think? Do you have faith in this to actually work out?
A little bit, but that's a great question. We've seen them drop the ball on so many other things like Cesaro, like we discussed, so it wouldn't surprise me if they totally dropped the ball on this.
Well, let's see here. How can WWE drop the ball on this?
See, that's the thing, and I talked about that earlier today when I said this is really an important feud for Bray Wyatt. He needs to come with his ace stuff, because with the Jericho feud and the Cena feud, it didn't really amaze a lot of people. But now that he's going up against Ambrose, he has every opportunity, because Ambrose is on fire right now, to have a really special feud. But I don't think WWE can drop the ball on this. I think the only people who could drop the ball are Wyatt and Ambrose, and with their abilities, there's no way they're going to let this be anything more than or anything less than the hottest feud in the company.
The only way they can drop the ball with this is if they don't let them do their thing. If the promos sound too scripted, if it becomes too unbelievable, that's how they can drop the ball with it. But I don't think they will. I think they'll let them do their thing, and do we see this as more than a one pay-per-view feud, guys?
This goes into Rumble. That's my prediction.
Esau?
I'd have to say there's a slight chance of a one-off, but I would think it would make sense to have them have the 3-feud thing in the Rumble.
Yeah, you can't do a one-off with this.
No, but my thinking is if they can't do a one-off, which I agree, what other elements do you have to make this more interesting? And maybe that is adding another person to the equation on Bray Wyatt's side. Maybe that just means because Wyatt's character is beyond stipulations. A gimmick, a match, it doesn't mean anything, as we saw with the Cena feud.
They got 3.5 months out of a Cena feud with Bray and Wyatt. I'm sure they could come up with some decent material to get Ambrose and Wyatt until Royal Rumble.
Well, let's talk about the pay-per-view that comes after Royal Rumble. Guys, Elimination Chamber is apparently gone. A lot of people didn't like Elimination Chamber because they felt it was a little too gimmicky, and we know the wrestlers didn't like it because right before their big WrestleMania paycheck, they were putting their bodies on the line in the hardest, most brutal match of them all. Are you upset about the disappearance of the Chamber? Do you think it ran its course? Does it make sense? I mean, to me, this says Lesnar is our champion heading into WrestleMania no matter what.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with the gimmick being overplayed. It has everything to do with A, Lesnar not being there, and then B, there being only one world championship, because the Elimination Chamber was either designed to have the belt defended, and we can cancel that out because Lesnar won't wrestle, or B, determine a #1 contender. But now that there's only one belt, the Royal Rumble covers that, so they had to change it. They had no choice.
Yeah, I mean, they got away with it this past year with only one belt.
What was the Elimination Chamber match though? It was the championship belt. It was the championship match, right? Yeah, it was the They defended the belt. Okay, well then Lesnar's not there. Lesnar's not competing, so they had to. Who else were you going to throw in the chamber?
No. I'm saying that like they didn't need 2 chamber matches. You know, it boiled down to just one, but.
Yeah, but these are obviously special circumstances when your champion only shows up like once every couple months.
You can't even have like a #1 contender thing because that's what the Rumble's for.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing with you guys. It totally makes sense. I mean,
they should abolish these gimmick pay-per-views completely. Because I loved the days when they would just come out of the blue and say, at the next show you're gonna wrestle Hell in a Cell, and it would kind of take you back. Like at I mean, it's a bad example because it's in the modern era, or like of gimmick pay-per-views. But when they had the promo with Triple H and Undertaker, and Triple H challenged him to Hell in a Cell, and we were shocked because we couldn't believe they were going to do a Hell in a Cell match that wasn't on the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
Right. I
miss those days, and you do that with TLC, you do that with the Elimination Chamber, but now you know every single year when you're going to be seeing it, so it kind of loses the effect after a while.
This past week I was going back online, and I watched TLC 3, the forgotten TLC match between the 3 normal teams and Benoit and Jericho, and they gave that to us not only for free, they gave it to us on SmackDown.
Yeah. That was a really good match.
It's a stellar match. You'll never hear anything about it again, but it was a stellar match.
And
then there was the other TLC match that took place. There's the other TLC match that took place the next year on Raw, the one where Bubba Ray was talking about how he got spiked into the mat by Jericho and finished like 75% of the match with a concussion, dazed and had no idea where he was. He forgot how to do his finish. He forgot what the Bubba Bomb was.
Oh man!
I mean, you're right. It used to be a special time, and I'm not advocating giving stuff away for free on TV, but the stipulations they've run their course.
Mm-hmm.
They've run their course. Last chance for any questions, guys. I see we're talking a lot about Reigns and Ambrose and Miz down in the chat. That's awesome. Don't forget, you can follow us on WrestlingRumors.net every single day and find out all the latest news and rumors and features and all this fun stuff. One of my favorite things that I post every single week is the Jim Ross question and answers. JR's always got some good stuff to say. And again, this is some of the best work you'll see on the internet here at WrestlingRumors.net with guys like the little big guy over here, B-Song, and the bald guy here, and I mean is that your 5-second pose?
Yeah, pretty much, man. Vogue, do all that good stuff.
5-second pose, Edge and Christian style. For the benefit of those with flash photography.
5 seconds in Canada is really 2.5 seconds American.
Right.
So if it doesn't last as long,
right.
Just give you a heads up.
Right. Oh, I've been there, done that. Anywho.
Damn exchange rate.
That's all we got here on Wrestling Warm-Up. Make sure you stick with us on Twitter at WrestleRumors as Glass Mode ALB.
Big guy.
The little big guy. Tweets away. Any final words from you heading into Raw tonight?
Finish him.
You hungry or something there?
We bit for some Russian. And that is it.
Walder.
Hashtag We the North. Hashtag follow Walder Sports.
RTZ.
What? Well, hashtag We the North. Hashtag Dark TO. All the good hashtags. Hashtag Walder rules the universe, like Psycho said. That's a really long one. But I don't care.
Listen to the adjective there. Play. Okay. Call me at John Alba SFC. It's been a pleasure hosting this. Doug will be back soon. Don't worry about it. I promise. I know you all probably missed him. Make sure you check out Monday Night Raw, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you next time.